Karen. So I wanted Karen to be able to have a chance to introduce herself to you, and then be able and talk about what she's working on and her new role, but also then give you some time to have some questions. It's nothing like turning the camera on people and saying, so welcome.
Thank you.
We are very glad you're here.
All right.
We've already been sending people down our way, and it's been busy.
Yep. Okay, so my name's Karen Tyler. I started for this district, so it's Eastern Essex District, which includes Georgetown, of course, and 7 other towns. I started in July, and I'm sure a lot of you, if not all of you, know Terry Hart, who was my predecessor. He did a lot. There's some big shoes to fill. So hopefully, I can build some relationships with you guys like he did. Well, first of all, thank you for having me and everything. Let me crash the men's breakfast. First they let a couple of women into the Ranger School. And now I get to crash the men's breakfast. So you guys better watch out. We're everywhere.
That's right. There's no war on women. War on men. Right.
Yep. Also in that, I'm an Army vet.
Hey.
I was stationed in Germany. I was in the Big Red One, so I was with the infantry. I am a mental health specialist. Over in Germany, I was stationed in Schweinfurt. And so it was, a lot of infantry. The cab was there, engineers and stuff. So what I did while I was in the service is, first of all, so when I went into the service, it was in August of 2001. So I was in basic training when 9/11 happened. So a lot of things changed, what you were trained to do, and I'm sure, you guys have had these experiences. You get trained to do a certain thing, and then all of a sudden, it changes, and your amount of responsibility, gets larger and wider. So I did one-on-one counseling. I did pre-deployment screenings. So before any of the units got deployed, when you're going through all your stations, there was a mental health station that they would check in. So you would get your gear, you would come see me, you would get cleared, and then you would get deployed. Being in Germany, a lot of units go through Germany in order to get overseas to, Iraq and Afghanistan. And then I also did counseling on those that were left in Rear D. And I also counseled family members. So I feel very fortunate to be in this role because I was kind of there when people were getting deployed. So I was on the front end. And so to be working in veteran services is just so incredibly important to me because it's just to be able to help once you get out. And I think that's what, supporting our veterans is giving the help, that they need when they're home and everything. So I want to thank you for your service. And if you or your family members need anything, you can come see me. I really encourage everyone to at least stop by, even just drop off your DD-214 so you have another place where it's stored. There's benefits that we can talk about. There's state and federal. I can help with the paperwork. So if you have questions and stuff, I might not have all the answers, but I can get you and help you find those answers, get, an expert that does that particular benefit and everything to connect you and kind of be as like a liaison with the VA. I also, there's state benefits. There's Chapter 115, which helps low-income veterans receive the a subsidy, and so that way, it help with medical bills or rent or things like that. So there's a lot out there. I mean, it would take a lot more, for me to go through each benefit. That's why I am encouraging you guys to stop by the office. But also being in Georgetown, I can come out here. So, you don't have to travel to Ipswich, which is where my office is located. It just happens to be located in Ipswich. I cover, all the towns. So I have no problem traveling out here if you wanna meet, here at the Council on Aging, at a library, you wanna meet for coffee. I take mine with, cream and sugar, so.
One or two.
So we can do that, I wanna make myself available. So I want people to be able to know that you can come and see me. Do you guys have any questions? Sure.
I was curious, recently, or I should say since maybe Vietnam and since even Afghanistan, there's a lot more, there appears to be at least, a lot more mental kind of issues where battlefront fatigue or whatever it's called, that the GIs go through that you didn't hear about earlier. Now maybe it's more exposed and it's more of an issue now.
Right. So it's not that it didn't happen before, but people didn't talk about it. Vietnam, people came back, and the way that the veterans were treated when you came back from Vietnam, people didn't want to talk about it. Now you think about the way that the veterans are treated when they come out of, out more recently and everything. People are going there like, what can I do to help you? What's going on? People talk about it more. I think that there was a lot of, mental health and other diseases that, weren't treated, they thought, yeah, exactly, and everything. You kind of suck it up, and, you're like, this is the way it is, Nobody asked you about it, nobody pressed you about it, and you didn't want to talk about it. Nowadays, when people are coming out of the service, I think that there's, a lot more respect, and I think that's because, and this is just my own opinion, so take it for what it's worth.
Well, it's an educated one.
Yeah.
And everything, so this is strictly my opinion, is that because they're children or grandchildren
Family members.
of people who went through that, they see how, they know how they were treated, and they don't want that to happen to their children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, you know what I mean? So I think that, there was a lot to be learned, and I think they're trying to make up for a lot that has happened previously.
Well, the report came out not too long ago that 53% of people in the United States has mental problems. 53%.
Yeah. I think that it depends on what they're looking at. If it's a simple test, like, have you lost interest in things that you used to do before? Well, you go through your ups and downs, you know what I mean? And I think that because more people talk about it, more, and more people ask about it, with less judgment, and, I think that it's accepted to say, I need this help. There's also, there's mental illness, and the thing is that, it could be because of, like an imbalance and everything, psychiatric care. Like, some people need medication, and it's not because they're not strong enough to do it on their own. It's because there is a chemical and a biological reason why a prescription might help that. So.
Excuse me, I beg your pardon. I never get calls.
Are there things happening, let me see, how do I put this, on the battlefield itself where people are the military are anxious, apprehensive? You get in a vehicle and driving down a road or a highway not knowing if there's gonna be an underground bomb or something that's gonna wipe out the vehicle and you and your buddies as well, and maybe that's the tension, I'm sure, maybe that they didn't have during, as much during the Second World War or earlier wars.
Yeah, and you also have to look at, who's involved, it's not, there's a lot of children and everything, so if you're going into it and, and you have a child sitting there with a weapon pointed at you, I mean, that's just, I mean, it just has to be so difficult, to deal with, because on the one hand, you're like, this is a child, on the other hand, this child is,
Take your life.
exactly, and it's, the lines are not as clear as they used to be, cause you're looking in the, people almost look like civilians
Yeah.
and stuff, where,
So the youngsters are really, young teenagers or even probably younger in some cases.
yeah, and
That are fighting.
yeah, and also, the mindset for everything before you go in is different, you kind of went in with this sense of, everything's okay, the US is terrific, everybody's supportive and everything and stuff, and so there was less, I kind of feel like everybody is a little more, similar to each other, where, like in, during the times like Vietnam and stuff, you had your hippies and you had, you know what I mean? So, there's still that, but, it's just, it's just very difficult to, and the lines aren't as clear.
Well, before we just got interrupted by the phone.
Yeah.
You were speaking about medication and, ways of being able to help or treat. And in all actuality, where the medication is indicated, the veteran patient really doesn't have control over the indication of that, because yes, it's in the brain, and I refer to that, my expression that I coined is synaptic support.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the brain is built, that's where the connections are made and where the chemicals maneuver. Yeah, I just wanna kind of reinforce what you were saying, that if the medication is indicated, then the provider of that certainly gonna discuss that thoroughly with the veteran.
Yeah.
And then the veteran can make that choice with the provider, and it's not an indication of weakness. This
Right.
is just how we're made.
Yep.
And the brain, is pretty independent in some ways. And so the brain sometimes will say, I need some adjustment here. You had your car in last week for a tune-up. Well, I need a tune-up this week. So I don't wanna go off on that.
Oh, can you, right behind you, had a question for
The
a second.
difference between World War II and the later wars, we know who our enemy was. He had a uniform on. Vietnam, they wore pajamas, and over in the other country, you didn't know, they'd have robes on.
Yeah.
Some little kid walking down the street, she'd wanna shake your hand, he's got a hand grenade in the other one, or a strip of dynamite on him.
Right,
And that, I think, is part of what's causing all the problems.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of supportive groups that are helping these, veterans and stuff, and so, it's something that you may need, when you first get out, but you might not need it for your entire life. By getting that help that you need at the time that you need it is gonna help you be successful for, the point where you get out of the service, all the way through the rest of your life.
And
Did
you
you have
can play a pivotal role in this, in your position as the rep.
Well, one thing I wanna say on that, and I'll get to your question right after, okay?
Excuse me.
Is, how I was saying that, I was stationed in Germany and, the difficulties that I had to deal with. I am so thankful for being stateside now, because there are so many resources. Because when I was in Germany and everybody's getting deployed all the time, I'm left in Rear D, and it's Germany, so you don't have as many resources, you know what I mean? All you have is the American bases and stuff, and like, my base in particular, you know, it was small, we didn't have the big hospital and everything. To get to a bigger hospital, you know, like Heidelberg or Würzburg or something like that, you had to travel to get there, and a lot of times you couldn't get there, you know, and so here, so I was like the almost, you know, in some situations, the end all be all. But here in the States, you know, there's private, there's veteran supportive, you know, government supportive programs, and people with degrees, and, you know, like, when I was enlisted, so I was an E4, which is usually, you know, I joke around when people are like, oh, you're the veteran service officer. And I said, yeah, I had to get out of the military to become an officer. And everything, because I was only an E4. So anyways, and they always told me, oh, you know, you're not going to do the counselings. That's what you have the officers for. You know, they have the degrees. They're psychologists and psychiatrists, and they went to school for all those years to become, you know, become that, and they're using, you know, the military to pay for that education. So to not have that, you know, it was difficult. But here, stateside, you know, you have licensed psychologists, you know, psychiatrists, you know, social workers, and they're very well prepared to help you and to get you the services that you need and to really point you in the right direction and give you guidance. So, I mean, that's something that, you know, I value very highly. So.
It's not, the people who were in World War II were different from what the kids are going to Germany today, or to the Arab countries. They were different people.
Yeah.
Because they were born at a different time, the upbringing was different.
Yeah.
So you can't equate the kids of today with ones from World War II.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're different altogether.
Absolutely, and everything. In general, generation studies is just, I find it fascinating, you know, the way that you were raised at the time that you were raised, you know. You go to work as soon as you get out, and some of these, you know, your work ethic is completely different. You know, nowadays, I used to work in human resources, and so I had, you know, I was hiring kids, it was their first job, and even myself, and looking at the way that, you know, these kids are coming in, and the way that I, you know, approach my job is drastically different. You know, they have like kind of a different attitude, I don't want to say, they're kind of more coddled and everything. A lot of times what people call now like the helicopter parent that are just always, you know, they're, yeah, exactly. You know, I worked for a town that hired, you know, summer help and everything. And their parents wanted to fill out their applications. I said, I'm not gonna take your application unless you fill it out. You know, I expect you to work. If you can't fill out the application without help, how am I gonna send you on a project, or, you know, those types of things. But, it is a little bit different. That's like the newest generation, but I think that in between generation, it has that, you know, that's just getting out now, or that went in during that time, had a work ethic, that, you know, it's just something that's changed through the generation.
Well, Mom normally stayed at home, took care of the kids,
Yeah.
prepared the meals, so when Dad came home,
Yeah.
you're all set.
Yeah.
It's very seldom now that you won't find the two, husband and wife both working.
Yeah.
That's not unusual.
Yeah, or a single parent,
Yeah.
and they're working full time, because I know, you know, and everything, I know how my day goes, and I was a single parent for a long time, and, you know, you wake up, it's, you do everything.
Yeah.
You're like the mom and the dad, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, and there's,
That's the doggone problem.
Yeah.
Today, nobody wants to get married, nobody wants to raise their kids.
Amen.
they
Well, this
sing
certainly qualifies you par excellence.
Where's the fathers? The mother has the kids, where's the fathers? And they let the fathers get away scot-free.
The big problem, I mean, we were fortunate, we were coming out of a depression when the war came along.
Yep.
And we had a work ethic.
Mhm.
I mean, most of all, it started at 12, 13, or 14, but you couldn't run to mama and daddy and say, hey, couldn't I have a couple of bucks to go down bowling or
Yeah, yeah.
movies? We had to go out and earn that money.
Yep,
Like,
and,
like the people bringing drugs in from South America.
Yeah.
Right? Why don't the police, when they catch those people with drugs, why don't they break their damn knees?
Yeah.
Instead of getting a shyster lawyer that takes the money from them and gets them off scot-free.
Hey, we just released a whole bunch of them. What are you complaining about? Let
Yeah,
them out jail early.
sure, they're running free.
You sound kinda like a Charlie Daniels song that I heard once before.
So Karen, when are your office hours?
okay, so I'm in Ipswich, on Mondays from 8 to 7, because I like to be available. Sometimes people can't get in during, business hours and stuff, or if they need, assistance, and so that way I like to at least, have that I'm always available late Monday nights. And then Tuesday through Thursday, I'm 8 to 4, and then I do a half day on Friday.
You have a card or something you can leave? Or-
I do. I'm running out, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it at the Council on Aging. I'm gonna get like a whole bunch. Yeah, I've been running around, trying to meet people, and I'm giving them out like water, and wasn't prepared. So,
But Colleen will have them in the office.
yep. So I'm gonna get them to her. Yep.
Good.
Could you give us the information on how to get a hold of you?
Yep. So the number at Town Hall is 978-356-3915. And Ipswich Town Hall is at 25 Green Street. And I'm on the bottom floor. But like I said earlier, I'm able to come out and meet with anyone, anywhere they want, so I can do that by appointment. If you wanna come and see me at the office, outside of those hours, give me a call, let me know, and I can certainly do that. And everything, I'm here to help. So the moral of the story here is, call me, come by, ask me any questions you want. If I don't have the answers, I can help get the answers. Is there any other questions?
I have one for you, because I'm curious. Do you know the number of female veterans we have in the district?
In the district, I do not. I'm actually, one of the things that I'm trying to do, hopefully I'm trying to get everything squared away in the office, but I want to get out more. See, in groups like this, it's terrific. It's a lot easier for me to capture you guys because you do congregate and you have clubs, or if you go to the Legion or the VFW, involved in Council on Aging. So look, I got to come here and meet all you guys. It's a lot harder with younger veterans because they're everywhere. They're dealing with their families, or they're going to school, or they don't congregate as much. And so I'd like to get out there so that way I can grab those outliers, so that way I can pull them and get a better idea of what they need and be able to get that for them.
Excuse me, Karen.
Sure.
It just occurred to me when you mentioned like congregating and so forth. There are a number of veterans organizations. Of course, director.
No.
But that might be another place, although when I have meetings, it's usually later in the evening. But that could also be a venue where you might be able to present to a number at a time.
Yep. Yep, and I'm also part of the Women's Veterans Network, so, because a lot of times they have different experiences than men. There's certain things that, you know, that we can and cannot do, and I think that, you know, I know that my experience, even in basic, because we had a mixed basic training, I went to Fort Leonard Wood, and, yes, Fort Lost in the Woods. Which was fantastic in August, gotta tell you. So, you know, it was, because simple things, you know, I don't know, just a simple example, all right? I'm 5 foot, almost 3.
There you go.
And so even just going through the obstacles, you know, here I am, I'm with guys that are, you know, 5'11", 6 feet, 6'2", and stuff, and so just to get over some of the obstacles, I gotta tell you, I had to try harder. And everything, you know, you think about, you know, going over something where like the guys would just, you know, put their hands and swing their legs over. I can't do that, you know, so I'd have to push myself up, like, put down, swing my legs over, and everything, and we had to finish in the same time as men, you know? And then, of course, when you get to your duty station and things like that. So there is, you know, just like there's a men's group and a council on aging, there's always, you know, you always like to have, feel a special connection with people who are similar and stuff, so that's great.
Fantastic job, I learned a lot.
Great, very good, thank you.